Greetings and welcome to Rubber Biscuit, powered by Team Sully-Mac. A little Rubber Biscuit roadie this week from Toronto, Ontario, the home to the Northeast Division rival Maple Leafs. We'll take a little peek inside the Hockey Hall of Fame and see what's new there. We'll meet legendary hockey entertainer Eddie Shack, a former Bruin, plus Black Squirrels and Alexander Ovechkin. All ahead on Rubber Biscuit, powered by Team Sully-Mac. Coming right back at you. If you're over 40 years of age and a hockey fan, you probably remember the name Eddie Shack, one of the most colorful personalities in NHL history. If you're under 40, you'll see why his name was Eddie the Entertainer in just a moment. Shack played more than 1,000 NHL games for 6 different teams, including 2 seasons in Boston. He retired from the league in 1975. And although he won 4 Stanley Cups in Toronto, Shack is best known for being the Clown Prince of Hockey. These days, Shack's pretty tough to pin down. He doesn't speak to the media much. The Biscuit, however, caught up with Eddie outside the Royal York Hotel on the street in Toronto.
Just a couple of things, going to the TransUnion upstairs and then over to the hockey game, and then I've got to just sign some rough. Yeah, you must be a Boston fan.
Tell me about your hat again.
Well, I'm always in a cowboy hat, and I figure I put my picture on the lid of it, and they would know who I am. Okay.
In case you get lost.
Yeah, take me home.
Tell me about you came up with. I don't think a lot of fans remember this, but you came up with Boston. What do you remember about the early days of the Bruins?
Well, that's when Bobby Orr was there, and he was there the first year, and then I came in the second year. The first year they didn't make the playoffs. The second year when I was there, they made the playoffs, and that's when they got Esposito and Hodge and Freddie Stanfield and that, and I played with Derek and Ed Westfall.
Taken away by Westfall. Feeds out front. Jack to Sanderson. Goal!
You were known as Eddie the Entertainer, obviously, because you had a lot of fun on and off the ice, right?
Yes, very much so.
Is that bottom line? Was that was the whole point? Have a good time?
Well, if hockey is fairly serious, and sometimes I didn't take it that serious. I used to, I scored my 20 goals and I have a little bit of fun later. And then I used to do the twirl when I had the first star, and I was on the MVP. I was on 4 Stanley Cups. I scored a winning goal, and I was a good hockey player, but I did like to fool around a little too much. And that's why Boston got rid of me. Harry Sidden couldn't go for that, you know what I mean? Is this going back to Boston? Hi, Harry, you old bugger, you. Clear the track. I used to knock them down. I used to give them a whack. They had a song named after me. They had a book named after. It was #1, and everything was great in Toronto.
That night checked by Shack. Shack right up, score!
What's the silliest thing you ever did?
Well, silliest.
What's the craziest thing you did on the ice?
Well, I did the twirl. I used to go on the ice when we had a little bit of time and skate around. They've cut that out. I did many things on the ice. When my dad was at the games, he used to yell, "We want Shack," and he'd have 5,000 people yelling, "We want Shack." I'd go stand up on the other side and yell, "We want Shack." Nimlak there's 10,000 people yelling, "We want Shack." And Nimlak says, "If they want you so bad, why don't you go up there and sit with them?" So that's...
Were all 4 of your cups with Toronto?
Yes.
It's the early 60s and then 67, right?
62, 63, 64, and 67. I lived in the Saugus, so say all the people in Saugus, hello. But nobody knows me in Boston now. I mean, you had so many great hockey players, and they had so much fun. It was fantastic. And I thought Esposito would be looking after Boston, but I don't know, Harry Sidden and him didn't get along or something. They must have had a little bit of a hello, dolly.
Hi, I'm Alexa with the Boston Bruins, and now it's time for your Funky Stat of the Week.
The Bruins have a long history with the Toronto Maple Leafs, dating back to 1924 and the inception of Original Six NHL competition. In 616 regular season games between the two teams, Boston has the slim head-to-head advantage. The Leafs, however, hold a narrow lead in offensive firepower, having scored over 1,800 goals, 49 more than the Bruins over the course of 83 seasons.
More Rubber Biscuit, powered by Team Sully Mac, right after this.
Welcome back to Rubber Biscuit, powered by Team Sully Mac here in Toronto, Ontario, Canada, at the Hockey Hall of Fame, where you will see larger-than-life figures like this one, Kenny Dryden. And 4 more big names were added to the Hall this past November. Former Conn Smythe winner in Calgary, Al McGuinness, Oilers and Rangers legend Mark Messier, the NHL's 4th all-time leading scorer Ron Francis, and Devils captain and Cup winner Scott Stevens. Include longtime NHL exec Jim Gregory in the Builders category, and you've got quite a group.
One of the greatest classes that had ever gone in, and it's really a bunch of great guys and great families. They all had wonderful families, and they were all approachable and accommodating. It couldn't have been a better weekend.
The perfect cap to a monumental 2007.
We revitalized the entire concourse area, and so that keeps guests coming back, and we certainly saw it this year, past year, with more guests than we've had this year than any other year. So it was great for the Hall. Good weekend, too, good induction weekend.
Any weekend is a good one to visit the Hall of Fame. The Bruins, by the way, play twice more in Toronto this season. A chance to road trip for the game and to visit hockey's ultimate shrine. Okay, come on, kids. We're taking a little break from our tours of the hall to do what we always do. It's our interactive moment. Here we go. Eddie Belfour in net. Sassy Kelly Massey. No, he made the save. You got to put a little more on that. A little more. Oh, another kick save. You might be better off shooting 2 pucks at once. Oh, that was wide. Oh, that score? That scored. You're the current leader on the board in the clubhouse with 1. Darren Boycor played a game for the Winnipeg Jets. Oh, top shelf. Go. Tell me that wasn't it. That was crossbar. Oh, right off the face. Come on, you need 1. Post. You hit the post again. This is not hit the post. That's in. No, post again. 3 crossbars. 3 crossbars. Feel bad for you. Just like to point out that the host is wearing his sport jacket while performing this laser. Got the wire dangling, causing some confusion. What was that, crossbar? Post! You ready? Ready, Ed? Being too fine. Thank you. We might have to go to a shootout. I need it here. 5th shot. No, blocker save. Tie, a 3-way tie. Nice. Means we don't have to drop the glove. The only bad thing about this, we tied Massey. Yeah,
That's awful. I don't know how you guys are going to live with yourself. Imagine the barometer.
Okay, back to the Hall. Boyko, who was just firing pucks, is in charge of another celebration of sorts and a large display to go with it. A century of great international hockey.
As a tribute, we've redesigned the hall to reflect on some of the highlights of the past 100 years of international ice hockey. A lot of it ends up having to be about Canada and the United States and their success, but there's a little bit for everybody when they come to see it.
Recognition that the game and the NHL is truly international.
The Olympics every 4 years, they get the best players out now, and the World Cups that have come out, and certainly even the World Junior tournaments, they're pumping out the stars, and those names come up in a year or so to be stars and superstars in the NHL.
Always something exciting, new, and fun here at the Hockey Hall of Fame in Toronto. That's the exit. I'm going back in You're back right after this. Time to chew on this. Halfway through the season, what has been the biggest story for the Bruins so far? Remember to vote each and every week on the Rubber Biscuit webpage at nessin.com. More of Rubber Biscuit, powered by Team Sullymac, after this. Rubber Biscuit is powered by Sullivan McLaughlin Companies, providing electrical and technology services to the hub of hockey. Welcome back to Rubber Biscuit, presently in London, Ontario, a couple hours away from Toronto. Not only does this town of almost 400,000 people have a really good junior hockey team, the Knights, that play here at the JLC, they also have the famous Black Squirrels. Take it away, Peter Snell.
There's a little bit of heaven right here in London, in a park downtown near City Hall. The trees are home to the squirrels, and attractions of nature call. Vicky and Victoria Park, Vicky, London's black squirrel, goodwill from the Forest City, welcomes every boy and girl. Vicky and Victoria Park, Vicky, London's black squirrel, log her in on your computer. Victoria-park.com, Victoria-park.com.
So these black squirrels, like what, why, when? We asked the man behind this Chamber of Commerce-like effort, behind the Squirrel website, and a self-proclaimed local nutcase, Rick Wallace.
In a nutshell, back in 1995, I was promoting the White Squirrels of Exeter, which is only about maybe 35 minutes north on Richmond Street here. I thought it was neat, so I made up some souvenirs, and that sort of started a really neat sort of squirrel souvenir business that I started on the sideline. So I actually had designed a white squirrel pin. I had taken the pin that I designed, made up a black squirrel, and the best place to find black squirrels in Ontario or even Canada is Victoria Park.
Any day, come and visit Vicky, near the Holy Roller tank on display. Share your lunch with the squirrels, watch them jump on the cannon as they play. Vicky in Victoria Park, Vicky, London's black squirrel.
The White Squirrels in Exeter, they had a song. I thought, well, the Black Squirrels, they need a song. So I had actually got in contact with Peter Snell because of the work he did on the White Squirrel song.
Goodwill from the Forest City, welcomes every boy and girl. We've taken it to City Hall and offered it to them as a promotional tool, I suppose you could say, and they weren't terribly interested. They felt promoting a black rodent maybe wasn't the best idea, but you know, Walt Disney did all right with one.
What people can't see right now, I see about 30 black squirrels running all over the place here. These squirrels are the ambassadors for London. They're friendly. It's a shame that the city didn't want to adopt it.
Victoria-park.com, Victoria-park.com.
Hey, it's time for the Bruins Back Check, presented by Sullivan and McLaughlin Companies.
I'm so proud to play in Boston and play in front of these fans.
Centering feed, Neely scores!
To have your number retired with an organization like the Bruins, you know, not something you ever think about. You look at all the other numbers that are up there, and to be one of those players is and always will be a special honor for me. And the great thing about it for me, because of having lost my parents, my first name, my full first name Cameron, is my mother's maiden name, and my middle name Michael is my father's first name. So it's kind of cool to see my parents' names up there as well as mine.
Back with more Rubber Biscuit here in Ontario in just a few minutes. When it comes to Original Six experience, it's tough to find a more qualified NHLer than Bruins defenseman Aaron Ward. The 13-year NHL vet has played for 3 Original Six teams, the Red Wings, Rangers, and Bruins, while growing up a fan of a 4th team.
I grew up a Leafs fan, and now I cannot stand them. I hate the Leafs. I hate everything about the Leafs. You learn as a player in the National Hockey League to resent everything about the Toronto Maple Leafs when you play against them. Now I'm a Boston Bruin. It's Original Six, and the hatred's still there.
Hatred aside, for Ward, the appreciation for Original Six hockey is still there.
You know, one of my favorite memories about playing in Detroit was the fact that Ted Lindsay was around. I had a stall in the locker room, and there was always an extra stall, and Ted sat there. To really have that influence in the locker room, to have a link to the past, a legacy, a guy that when people talk about hockey, he did it the right way. Same thing here. You know, we got Johnny Busick, a guy that you know, game in, game out, I love seeing him in the locker room. There's a lot to be said for playing for Original Six team because you feel a devotion, an attachment to not only your team but the players of the past.
I'm happy to announce that the 5th pick in the 1991 entry draft is a defenseman from the University of Michigan, Aaron Ward.
The Windsor, Ontario native was picked 5th overall in the 1991 NHL draft by the Winnipeg Jets, but he never suited up for them as he was traded to Detroit before the 93-94 season. The trade to Detroit brought a young Ward under the influence of 10-time All-Star Steve Yzerman.
Yzerman moving, blue line chance, score!
Steve Yzerman was a guy that exuded professionalism. He was perfect in his approach. He was all about the team. He expected that from the players, and he prepared himself like no one else. He was a guy that knew how to handle every situation.
Ward was quick to put his own name in the record books, notching a special milestone on October 8, 1993, in just his 2nd NHL game.
First goal was a one-timer on Guy Hebert in Anaheim. It was the first ever game played in Anaheim. So the puck was taken. The goal was actually commemorated by the U.S. Postal Service in a special envelope. I'm a Trivial Pursuit question, I guess.
The success continued from there for the Blue Liner as the Red Wings powered their way to back-to-back Stanley Cup titles in 1997 and 1998.
It was a whirlwind. You know, I think I was 24 years old, but in 1997 I was playing with basically the next incoming class of the Hockey Hall of Fame. Yzermans, Fetisovs, Larionovs, Fedorovs, all these guys who, you know, I laugh, but I'll be going to their induction ceremonies relatively soon.
After 7 straight postseason years in Detroit, Ward was traded to Carolina in 2001, where the playoff appearances kept coming. In Ward's first season there, the Hurricanes lost in the Stanley Cup Finals, ironically to his former team. But they were back 4 years later, taking on the Edmonton Oilers.
Stanley Cup Finals, Game 7. You know, going into Game 7 at home is deafening. And it was just a fluke, you know. I was sneaking in, and the puck took a weird bounce off someone's skate. I think it was Mark Recchi's skate, and it just kind of was a catalyst, I think, to the way our team and the team responded that game.
Aaron Ward out of the University of Michigan had the first goal in this game.
I didn't expect to ever win it again. You know, the odds of winning it are so low, but to win it a 3rd time, I really did cherish it this time. It was the closest I was to any group of guys ever.
After his 3rd Stanley Cup ring and first with the Canes, Ward signed as a free agent with the New York Rangers in 2006. But it was not a good fit, and after 2/3 of a season, he was traded to Boston on February 27, 2007 for Paul Mara.
It just wasn't a good fit for me, and you don't know that till you get there. But I'm happy I'm in Boston. Actually, I'm thrilled I'm in Boston. It's a city of champions. They have expectations, and they have a right to be critical, and hopefully we can live up to the expectations.
Scores! Aaron Ward! And the Bruins answer with 11.8 to go!
This is the Breacher Girls hockey team. You're watching the Rubber Biscuit. More after this.
Back on the Biscuit, powered by Team Sully Mac. The last couple of weeks on Rubber Biscuit, we chronicled Bees defenseman Andrew Ferentz's trip to Tanzania, Africa, in support of the international humanitarian organization Right to Play. Other NHLers are getting involved with the charity in different ways. How about Washington Capitals superstar Alexander Ovechkin? He auctioned himself off this past summer to the highest Ontario bidder. All of the money went to Right to Play. In exchange, Ovechkin spent an hour with the winner's favorite youth team. Ovechkin flew to Toronto from Montreal, skated with the kids, and then flew to Washington, D.C. to start training camp.
I came here to skate with the kids, so help Right to Play. I think it's good.
All smiles from the affable Russian, and all smiles from the kids with a chance to skate with one of the game's best.
Oh, it's just great to be able to play with a player of his caliber, his status. Oh, it's unbelievable.
I've coached most of these kids over the last 7 years off and on, and so it's more just for the kids to have a chance to be trained by a NHL great and maybe even get an autograph afterwards.
It's Little Biscuit time. Washington's Alex Ovechkin is well on his way to his second 50-goal season in 3 years, which leads us to this week's Little Biscuit. There have been 11 50-goal seasons recorded in Bruins history. Hall of Famer Phil Esposito tops the list with 5 50-goal campaigns, including a team record 76 goals in 70-71. Cam Neely has 3 50-goal seasons, while Rick Middleton, Johnny Busick, and Ken Hodge each notched one such season for the Black and Gold. The last time a Bruin netted 50 in a single season? 93-94, when Cam Neely tallied 50 in just 44 games. Dennis Weidman, former London Knight. We saw the outside of your rink up there, the John Labatt Center in London. It's almost like the Patriots of junior hockey the last few years. It's a pretty darn good program, isn't it?
Yeah, you know, as soon as Mark and Dale Hunter bought it, I think it was probably my second year in junior, and they really started to turn that organization around. And then the city answered by building that new arena there, which is it's really nice for a junior rink, and they've been good for a while now.
You obviously didn't make it over to Victoria Park because you don't have a pet black squirrel.
No, I didn't make it.
No black squirrels for you.
No black squirrels.
Vicky in Victoria Park. Vicky, London's black squirrel.
That's a wrap from Toronto, Ontario. We'll see you next time, next week on Rubber Biscuit. Hey. I'm gonna keep the regular squirrels away.